This conference will now be recorded.
Well, hi, folks. Thanks for sparing some time this lunchtime to meet with us. I'm excited today to be joined by the team over at Illumo, excuse me. I get my tongue twisted around that for some reason. Anyway, today's lunchtime webinar is going to be another based upon looking to improve business performance and get better business results through people analytics in this particular presentation. A little bit about the agenda for today. Let me just, here we go. Come on. So we're going to start with a recap of some prior solution demos we've done about employee productivity to sort of set the stage. We're going to give a high-level overview of productivity and why it's not guaranteed, and then we're going to have a quick look at what's at stake. It's all very well. In the idea of creating an ideal work environment, but what happens if you don't create it, right? Both to that environment and the culture you're trying to generate for your business. Then I'll be introducing Illumo, which, as I say, is an employee engagement solution which helps drive productivity. And I'll be handing off to Robert, who will be running through their solution and providing you a live demo. And then finally, we're going to be wrapping up with how USA Voice and Data can help you evaluate technology solution options like Illumo, and we're going to have a few key takeaways and how to get started if you're looking at productivity solutions. So our first productivity solution demo was really based around UCaaS and enabling remote working by enabling people to work from anywhere as if they were in the office and so on and so forth. Our second one, we then met with a group called Protoscore, and they've got an excellent solution for monitoring, managing, and improving productivity. That solution they have is very much tracking the actual activity of each employee. Some folks seem that might be a bit like Big Brother watching, but equally a thing to stress around that solution. It's not so much the Big Brother watching, but it also allows you to identify what your top performers are doing and what the folks that aren't top performers are doing, and it allows you to actually identify the differences and therefore provide the coaching to turn folks which mid-level performers into upper-level performers and so on and so forth. So it's a pretty neat tool. But those two solutions by themselves aren't enough, right? I mean, the key takeaways of those two webinars were that work from home is here to stay, right? And also productivity doesn't happen by chance. You've really got to measure stuff. Otherwise, you don't really know what's going to happen. You get what you measure, what you inspect, not what you expect, I think is the thing. So, and obviously the remote working, the ability to allow people to work from home has been particularly attractive for millennials, and certainly has helped improve employee satisfaction and retention. So today, though, I'll tell you that productivity is not guaranteed, and it's just the tip of the iceberg, right? So providing your employees the right technology to be able to work and collaborate from anywhere is great. B, monitoring and measuring and managing your employees' behavior and activity is equally great. However, that's not it. You're jumping the gun, because really business results, to get the business results that you really look for, you've got to develop the right work environment and the right culture within your organization. And that's really what the team at Illumo are going to share with you how to enable that. It's really important to develop an environment where your employees are heard and engaged, because that engagement really drives activity, and activity drives productivity, and productivity drives business results, right? So once you've got that environment and culture, then the right tools and technologies to drive the productivity and business results become very, very important. So today, obviously, that's what we're all about. Let's focus on the beginning, developing the right work environment and culture. And here's why it's important. If you get it right, you can reduce your turnover significantly. If you get it right, you can increase your profitability significantly. If you get it right, you can improve your productivity significantly. And obviously, if you get it right, you can increase your customer loyalty. And we're all about long-term relationships with our clients. So equally, what's it look like when you get it wrong from a culture and environment perspective? Well, firstly, your brand suffers, right? Secondly, you get disengaged employees. And as you can see, there's some real costs to that disengagement. And then equally, your retention costs, both on the employee and actually on the customer side, right? That's not even included here. This is just employee retention cost. Can be significant if you get it wrong. And obviously, there's other risks as well. And I think we're all pretty familiar with these other risks. They're very, very much talked about throughout the media, etc. So with that, I'm going to hand over to the team at Illumo. So Robert, do you want to just go ahead and get started? And as and when it's time for the demo, just let me know and I'll make you presenter.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks to the team here, and thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit today about Illumo and how we help organizations to quantify and transform the human experience at work. It's going to be fun as we talk through this, because as organizations, look, we're all in business to accomplish our business results. But the way that we're able to accomplish those is by creating a workforce and an environment that delivers the engagement and engages our people. I read a fantastic book, really highly recommend it to you, by Aaron Ain. He's the CEO of UKG. And in that book, he makes a very powerful statement, because they really focused on driving their business, and he puts everything based on their focus on people and culture. And what he says in that book is that he says, look, I didn't do this just to make people happy, which of course he did, and he wanted to, and wanted people to enjoy their experience there. But he says at the bottom line, it was all about it. I knew it was our most strategic business decision to focus on our people, because those people, when they become engaged, create the productivity. Those people, deliver all of this. But in order to get to that end in mind, right, those business results, well, where do you have to start? If you at the beginning of this year, January, decided, hey, I'm going to lose weight, well, where's the first thing that you did? You ran probably into the bathroom, jumped on the scale and said, hey, we got to start by knowing where we are and measuring where we are, so that we have the ability to see and track our progress. That's essentially what we're focused on today here, is that feedback. It all starts by gathering feedback and insights that deliver the understanding you need to make the right choices that will end up giving you those business results. And that's what we're going to really focus on here today. So once you start with the data, that's the tactical insights that you need to start building and driving and creating a workplace experience, what we like to call it, Illumo, the human experience at work. When you can create that, a place where people want to be, right? A place within your organization that attracts and retains your people. Well, it's all focused on the experience that they have. You know, we're an experience economy. Well, if you can create that, that's where all of those, like what you talked about, the increase in loyalty and productivity and reductions in churn, those are all outcomes of creating an amazing experience at work. But the ultimate outcome is to deliver your business results. And that's what we'll continue to focus on. So how do you get data and human insight? Because organizations really struggle with this. Well, the traditional method has always been to gather insights through surveys, but surveys are really ineffective and frankly pretty old school. They struggle because they're a single moment in time. When you go ask a survey, or, think of the last survey you got from your employer. Well, number one, you're probably like, oh, great, here comes another one. My brother-in-law was over and he's like, man, we just did our annual survey and I can't even get people to fill it out anymore. And what I say to that is, why don't people want to fill out a survey? Well, it's not because of the survey itself, but it's because of the lack of action that usually comes along with that. And what he said is exactly that. Yeah, my people say we keep saying the same thing, nothing ever happens. Why am I going to waste my time doing it? So we go through this terrible process, frankly, of trying to gather insights. And then if we did gather some insights, then guess what? They're just high level because they were not really extensive thoughts, or we didn't have a conversation. If I want to understand you, we need to have a conversation. And so what you end up doing is then doing focus groups and then having a conversation to try to learn about that. Well, bottom line, by the time you finally get through it, you're probably fixing problems that were 6 months, 12 months in arrears. And that's where this disconnect comes from. Hey, if I say something, if I don't see action taken very quickly, then I don't even associate. Even if you did end up finally taking action, I don't even associate it. So there's this huge problem in the process of how we gather insights from people. And that's really the problem that we at Illumo have solved. We help organizations to solve this through a systematic approach to driving those business results through human analytics. And we do it through our very simple and easy to use, and I'll walk you through this, our LEAP process, where we help organizations to listen, engage, take action, and then, of course, measure our progress. We have found that the easiest way to listen to your people is on the device that they have right in their pockets at all times. Now, we can integrate in a lot of different ways. If you guys are a Slack organization, great, let's ask our questions in Slack. But one of our highest rated and most responsive, we have organizations that are literally seeing I saw a 92% response rate on an organization in the platform today, and they use all text because it's just simple and easy, right? We just need to make it easy for people to listen. So what we do is we ask questions, and not once a quarter, not once a year, but every single week, we ask one question. Now, those questions were designed by organizational psychologists, and they're designed to help us know and understand the experience that your people are having with your organization. Again, we call it the human experience because what that means is that it's the all-encompassing experience. If I go to work, if I'm working remote, whether I align with my team, my leadership, what's my mental health status right now. Organizations are trying to figure all these things out, right? They're trying to figure out, well, what's happening with our people working remotely? How are they doing? What's their well-being like? What's their mental health like? Do they have the systems, technologies they need? What's that experience like? Well, I love to share with organizations, there's no need to guess. There really is no need to guess. Just ask your people in a way that they trust, and they will tell you exactly. It's like getting the answers to the test. All you have to do is ask for it, and they give you those answers. So we ask questions surrounding that all-encompassing experience. Every single week, we ask a question. Well, some of our questions come back and they create these live real-time visuals. So for example, here on the right-hand side, you're seeing, hey, under well-being, we're measuring things like work-life balance and psychological safety and their personal growth. Well, they have numbers that are associated, and they're actually even benchmarked against other organizations. And this is where we help organizations really start to take the soft stuff and quantify it into a hard number so that I can actually track it. And then when I take actions, I can actually see if I am going to move the needle. That's the
Are
power.
these questions and stuff? I mean, I presume you must have developed a whole bunch of standard questions. How related to the organization are these? I presume it's all very it's easy to change them, right? But I'm sure there must be a subset which are like standard great questions for any organization, and then there may be some which are, you know, specifically great for a healthcare organization or a membership organization or a, you know, manufacturing or whatever, right? So
Correct. So we built these human experience campaigns with built-in question sets that can then be customized. Each organization says, hey, here's the things that we want to know about and what's most important to us. And then you review the questions and activate those. The other, of course, is you can also build custom experience and create your own metrics. We can track anything. And organizations are not used to being able to track human sentiment. So for example, your values as an organization, if one of your organizational values is trust, then why don't we actually just track that? Organizations have never, frankly, had a way to track their values and actually see those other than anecdotally. Now we're able to deliver it in hard numbers in real time. That's the power of these. So
great.
yes, and I see the question surrounding healthcare, and yes, so we customize the question sets, what's being asked, and what's most important to each organization. But we do have benchmarking available in the platform so that you can then see, hey, how am I doing? Well, is a score of a 77 in personal growth good? Well, no, it's actually not that great because you're actually below other organizations in your same industry and size. And so we benchmark you so that you have an understanding of the validity or the context behind those numbers.
Robert, yeah, I completely neglected to invite anybody to go ahead, unmute themselves, and ask questions as and when as they come up. We want this to be as interactive as you'd like. So
Yeah, so let's hop to the next screen here. So this is probably our most powerful screen when people first see it. This is our heat map within the platform. And what I like to say is that language of business is numbers, and we help HR or people, whoever's driving people and culture within your organization, if that's the CEO, you know, whoever's driving that, bottom line, we finally put quantifiable, valid numbers surrounding your people and culture. Now I can see, hey, Department 90 is crushing it. They are really doing a great job surrounding all these key areas like DE&I and employee engagement and leadership and our new hires. But if you look there, for example, on new hires, well, I can see that the one department, man, they're crushing it. They got a 97. The other department, 55, they're really struggling. So what does this do for me? It allows me to know what matters most and where I should be focusing my efforts within the organization. Not just anecdotally based on what I hear or what people say, but through hard numbers and data. Now I can see it. And what I've seen with organizations is, you know, I had a CHRO a couple months ago tell me, you know, look, this has changed everything for us because finally now that the executives in the organization can see it, it became real to them. And she made that comment that I put on the slide here is that it was like taking the blindfold off. And for the first time, we could see the organization and where we were doing well and where we had opportunities to improve.
And Robert, can you obviously, so you can slice and dice all the statistics that are coming back are based upon obviously like departments. I presume you could potentially also do it by roles or
Absolutely.
levels or whatever, right? I mean, it's really
Whatever is the right answer. Yes, we can slice and dice according to anything that you have within the platform. So it can be based on demographics like age or race or any of those different types of things that you want to see. Plus you can create any custom group. So absolutely you can slice and dice the data.
so, again, just go back to the healthcare. Again, those departments might be emergency or, specific treatment areas or whatever, right?
That's correct. One of my favorites is to look at, and you'll see here, we have a category based on team and leadership. The studies show that 75% of people don't leave an organization. They leave a bad boss or a bad team. Well, where do you have good and bad teams then? Good and bad leaders? I can identify that for you. Not so that you go fire those people, but so that, again, you know exactly where to focus your efforts. Instead of anecdotally saying, trying to make all these decisions, it literally is like throwing darts at a dartboard when it comes to people and culture without having some type of tool like this that actually shows you where and what you should be focusing on. Now the numbers are like, that's like magic stage 1. But what really matters is not the number itself, to be honest. The number is important because it guides us to the right place. But if you'll change the slide, the most important thing for me to help you understand is the why behind the numbers. And that comes through our very unique approach to actually engage with your people in having anonymous, back and forth, human to human conversations with your people to learn and understand the experience that they're having. So when I need to now look and I can sort in the platform and say, okay, this team was struggling. Let me go look at the conversations and the comments and what those people are saying so that I can learn why they're struggling. Because once I know and understand a problem, that's when I'm in the perfect position to be able to actually help address it and start taking actions. I need tactical insights. That's what I really deliver to an organization, are the tactical insights they need to be able to drive their organization forward. And this is a perfect example. I grabbed one of the conversations out of the platform, and it was a question about, hey, what would you do to improve your job? And the answer came back, communication. That is what you get with a traditional survey. What you get with Illumo is the ability to now respond. And we ask the question, hey, thanks for responding. What aspects of communication would you most like to see improved? Is it frequency? Is it this? Is that, right? Now we start asking the question, well, guess what? They tell us exactly what they mean and exactly how that's showing up for them, and offer ideas and suggestions and ways to innovate to solve the problem. That's why I say, don't guess, just ask. Your people will tell you. And if you have a way that's safe, because these are anonymous conversations, it's a safe way for them to communicate it. That's when the magic really starts to happen.
And Robert, I'm guessing that sometimes it really might be more of a training issue versus something really being missing, right?
Absolutely. It could be an issue with training. It could be an issue with, hey, I don't know, I've got this issue, but I don't know how to solve it. It could be all kinds of things. But by having an open dialogue and a place where they can go and ask a question or provide feedback at any time about their experience, this is a game changer. As you're an executive trying to run an organization and lead an organization, just imagine having this type of feedback. It just simply guides you on a day-to-day basis, giving you the answers. And then, of course, now that you have that, now you're in the perfect place to start taking action and to translate their feedback into actual tactical action. But many organizations struggle with this process. and they miss one key ingredient. And that is that to create engagement within your teams or within your organization, you actually have to engage your people in the process. So rather than just going and solving those problems on your own, we facilitated in the software an easy way for you to just go engage them in the process, and we call it the illumination cycle, again, to help listen, engage, take action, and measure your progress. And so that's where this process really matters, because taking quick action, if you can know, hey, we have this problem and you can solve it just like that, well, number one, you've eliminated the roadblock. But what happens is people start to see, oh, I said that, they're listening. And once they know that you're listening, man, I get asked all the question, well, all the time, the question about, man, if you're asking a question every week, don't people get tired of responding? And of course, I say, well, yeah, people don't get that lack of action. They don't get lack or survey fatigue. They get lack of action fatigue, right? That's what happens. And so
That's great.
if you solve that, problem, all it is about listening. Man, people they'll give you all kinds of feedback as long as they know they're being listened to and somebody's taking action on it. So anyways, long term though, of course, now we need to measure progress. And that's where we have the ability to now have a needle on it. So we can see, hey, we're now going to take these actions. We're going to launch these initiatives with DE&I. We're going to launch these initiatives to try to increase our engagement. We're going to launch whatever it is that your organization's struggling and looking to try to accomplish. Well, now we have a way for you to measure the impact and iterate along the way. You're gathering insights surrounding it. Hey, we're taking these DE&I initiatives and here's what we've done. And then we start to see the needle move. And then we also look at the feedback that we're getting surrounding those initiatives in live real time. Well, that helps us figure out, oh, well, we're actually struggling. This isn't connecting. This isn't working in this area. Let's adjust that. And in the process, we make this iterative process to move the needle. It's a game changer, being able to work in your organization in this type of a manner with live, consistent, real-time feedback about everything that's going on.
So if you're asking a question a week and then at the same time you're trying to measure progress, how do you stop that fatigue? Because obviously you got to like remeasure after making being in action and making those changes. You got to like remeasure stuff, right? So how do you handle that?
That's the mindset that we try to change, is that instead of a before and after, we're just going to measure consistently all the way through the process. But we're measuring surrounding different areas or aspects of the organization that are important to us. So I don't every single week get a question about the same thing. I get a question about something new and different consistently. But then different people on the team are getting questions. And so when we randomize that based on the question sets, it keeps it new and fresh for me. So I'm being asked new and different things consistently, but different members of the team, and it's just this constant flow. So it's not this before and after. We try to change and get rid of that. We try to provide a consistent flow of information and insight. And then of course,
so you're actually asking different questions to different people at different times.
Yes, nobody's getting the same question on the same day at the same time. That's right.
Oh, that's cool.
That's right. So, and then of course, once you now gather all this data and insights, well, then we're there to help you to, of course, now take action on it. So we have a success team that engages in those day-to-day conversations. And then we also have a set of strategic advisors that help you look at the data, look at what your organization is trying to accomplish, and then help you identify, well, which areas should we focus on? Because even though we're measuring a broad scope, we need to pick 2 or 3 things that we're going to focus on and take actions on those. Well, we help you to know based on the data what to do. And that's where just a brief overview of this, and we can send you this case study afterwards. So we'll get this over to the team and you guys can send this case study out. But this organization went through COVID last year. They had to reduce some workforce, And in the middle of having to do all of that, they drove up their ENPS score. They increased it by 91%. So, or sorry, 31% increase in it. So that's phenomenal. How do you go through, lay people off, and have people feel better about your organization after that than they did before? That's like unheard of. But what it really came down to is they were able, through the platform, to have very intense and deep conversations with their people in the platform to learn and understand the experience. They were very open, they were very communicative. And what they did is, bottom line, they built trust. It says it right on their website. That's exactly what they did with their people. Their people knew why they were taking the steps they were taking. They knew that the company cared. They knew they were doing everything possible that they could, and that built a new and higher level of trust and built the organization. Now they've gone even higher than that now. The organization has. And so that's the type of thing that you can do. When you have really good insight and information, there's amazing things that you can accomplish.
All right, I think it's time for a quick demo. I think you got around about 10, 15 minutes, Robert, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so let me see if I can.
Yeah, let me just make you presenter.
Yeah, let me show you inside the platform a little bit, and we'll help you to understand kind of tactically how this works. And certainly if there's any other questions or things that you have, please let us know. All right, so let me share my screen here. Are you guys seeing that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, so here on the home screen, what we're seeing is the Illumo score. So based on all of those different experiences and human experience campaigns, all of the different metrics on the platform, this brings it into a single number so that you can look at the very top level how you're doing. Now, this organization is doing an amazing job. They're 12 above the average Illumo client. That's phenomenal, so obviously excellent. This is an interesting score that we put here next to the Illumo score. A lot of organizations use this. It's called the Employee Net Promoter Score, where on a scale of 1 to 5, you answer the question if you would recommend your friends and family to work here. And it's very standardized across many organizations are using it. And it's a scale of from negative 100 to a positive 100. And a 5, if you answer a 5, that's considered a promoter. So they have 88% of their people saying straight up 5. Then if you answer a 4, that's a neutral. But a 1, 2, or a 3, those are detractors. So they don't have a single person communicating a 1, 2, or 3, and 88% are a 5. So it's a phenomenal. Like, these guys are just crushing it. So, and then you can also see that they have 93% of their people that are engaging with Illumo. Show me another platform. This is one of the biggest struggles with surveys, right? Is that, in fact, I heard it from an organization the other day. They're like, oh yeah, we sent it out to 2,500 people and we got a 7% response. We're sitting at 93% of this organization actively engaging with the platform. It's phenomenal. That's what the difference is. When people feel heard, they feel listened to, they want to provide impact and feedback. Underneath here, then, this company went in and chose, underneath their experiences, which core experiences that they wanted to activate. So they're measuring alignment. They're measuring the experience that people are having with COVID, with DE&I, engagement, leadership. They currently do not have our mental health campaign turned on. So you can just activate campaigns. New hire and termination. So we measure the whole experience of people onboarding into your organization so that you can learn and understand that. So all of these different categories, you go in and turn those on. Then underneath one, so for example, I'll just hop down here to like that well-being campaign again to show you inside there. Well, then in well-being, this are the metrics. So they're measuring the growth and psychological safety. We actually just added, we got asked for a resilience and a burnout. And so we just barely turned this campaign on. They don't have responses in here and data yet, but we just barely added this campaign because that's one of the things that our clients were asking for, is how to measure and track resilience and burnout.
Robert,
And you can
is
see all of their
there a
scores.
way you can get a readout for how many people have responded within each of these categories?
Yes, if
Versus it
you,
just being a percentage type sort of?
yeah, in fact, I'll show you. So for example, on this is calculated based on the last 450 responses in March.
Okay. And how about those lower things?
Yeah, every metric that we have shows you this as you
Okay,
hop through.
shows you the population.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
And then over here in the, so this is back to that live dashboard for this organization. And in the dashboard, let me just expand this so we can see this a little bit deeper. In the dashboard, then now I'm seeing, hey, look, their sales team is really crushing it. For them, their creative services team, this is the team for this organization where they have some opportunities to improve. And it's interesting because whenever I see a team score that's low and a leadership score, that almost all of the other scores tend to be low, because once you're in an environment like that, well, guess what? Yeah, your whole perspective changed, right? Based on that environment. So they now know, hey, here's the place that we need to focus and the areas that we need to focus within the organization. Then you hop over into the conversations, into engage here, and we start looking at the conversations. We also mentioned all the demographics and the ability to sort it by any type of groups or anything like that. And so you can customize those as well. But, for example, there was in here, how satisfied are you with your team's ability to collaborate? Well, I'm going to give it a 3, and here's why, and here's what I'm going to tell you about it. And then we ask the question and we go back and forth. These are the types of, look, these aren't short, quick survey responses. We're actually having a conversation with these individuals to learn and understand the experience. It's so amazing. It literally is just, they tell us exactly, oh, we're struggling in that area. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, once you know, it's easy to fix. That's the ability that Illumo really drives. And then of course you can launch individual polls and announcements. This is one that I liked because this is a perfect example of don't guess, just ask, where they were like, hey, we want to hold an in-person event at the beginning of March or beginning of April. What do you guys think about that? And they ask the question, and here's the responses, and here's what people are saying. So now they know, and they take those actions based on, okay, well, the majority of people said yes, you're comfortable with that, and so here's what we're going to do, and here's how we're going to move forward. But they make this public. They're very open and communicative with this, so that everybody knows exactly how people responded. That's why the company's making the decision that we are, and that openness is phenomenal. And the trust that they built with their people through these conversations has really driven the organization forward. So that's why they're having such great success. And that's what the power of the platform is, the ability to gather consistent data, consistent insights. And that's really what we're hopefully you walk away from is, wow, imagine this within my organization, and how that would change how we make decisions and make choices. And this literally guides you to help align that. Because again, the whole purpose is to create a workplace experience within your organization that people love. But you can't fix what you don't understand. And the key to building that and creating that all relies on the right insight and the right data. And Illumo is the first real-time platform to deliver real-time insight in this way. And that's why we're so excited to share it with you today.
Robert, is this used externally too? I mean, do people use this for their clients, or is it all employee?
Great question.
Really good question. So in general, this is focused on employees. That being said, like where it's not a good fit is like if you're a McDonald's or something like that, and you're trying to get, sentiment and understand your people's experiences they're coming through the drive-through, that's not going to work well. But if you do have, for example, consistent vendors or consistent clients that you work with, and it's not this dynamic just over, turning, yeah, this can be used in that. And so we've done some interesting projects where, we're working with a group to help them understand the college experience and students going through that college experience. Well, of course, the only way to talk to them is through a text. So we can build out, again, I like to say the human experience exists everywhere, and we can help you to measure that. So wherever it is, whatever you're trying to learn and know and understand that would help then drive your organization and get you to those business results, that's our whole intent. So
I mean,
great
I
question.
could see this being helpful for us with our clients, just in terms of following up on implementations and that sort of thing. It's cool.
Yeah,
Is this,
absolutely.
what about outside the US? Like, what's the possibilities there? Like foreign, Asia Pac or whatever, where you're a multinational company.
Yeah, organizations, we support different languages. Currently, we have English and Spanish. The others are just, it's a variety of, in some countries, frankly, text doesn't work as well. Organizations aren't, and people in different countries aren't as open to a text for a business purpose as the US is. So it depends on the organization. But again, text is one way. We can, of course, go through email. We don't like to. We like to try to find, if they're using Slack or Teams or something like that. Let's just find wherever your people are, that's where we want to engage them. So yes, we can definitely work internationally as well.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Does anyone else have any more questions for Robert? He's got to drop off, but Corey's going to stay on with us through the end and give us another opportunity to ask some more questions. Robert, are you any more leaving thoughts as we move on?
I think just in summary is that, again, in order to get to those end business results that you're really looking for, you have to start with the data and the insight that you need to try to build and create that experience that will drive the organization forward. And that's the beauty and power of this tool, is live, real-time insight every single day to help guide your decisions. And so it's just, you've always had that type of numbers and metrics when it came to your financials. But those financials, I love to say, those are end results. But what creates those is your people's mindsets and beliefs drive their behaviors deliver your results. So if you want better results, don't focus on the results, figure out the behaviors and what you need to do. And that's where you can learn and understand exactly what to do within the organization. And that's the power of Illumo. So,
yeah. Well, thank you for your time. I know you got to rush. You got another back-to-back meeting. We're gonna just we got a few more slides and a couple of summary things to run through here. But thanks again, Robert. Much appreciate your time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Robert.
Righty. I am just going to go ahead and take back the screen and let me. So hopefully you found that as interesting as I did, frankly. I want to just touch briefly on USA Voice and Data for those who are unfamiliar with us. We're a leading technology solution advisor and broker. We help businesses with all sorts of different technology solutions, all really focusing on improving their business and their business productivity and outcomes, etc. We have a pretty exhaustive list of the leading cloud solution providers in our portfolio. Obviously, Illumo is one of them right here, highlighted, but we work with everyone from whether you're looking for a cloud infrastructure solution, a unified communications or contact center solution, productivity solution, et cetera, connectivity, et cetera. We have a great set of engineers and solution specialists who have real insight into cloud solutions and the adoption of those solutions and the drivers. Obviously, today's solution we identified as really helping in a number of areas, expanding and retaining talent. Obviously, that could be an outcome of leveraging a Illumo solution, enabling remote workers, workforce optimization. It's a managed service, so there's no upfront capital. And obviously, you know, you work with an organization that's happy, guess what? Your customer experience is going to be improving as well. So definitely an opportunity there. We have a number of different, our engineers have pulled together a number of different quick assessments, interactive quick assessments. For instance, to identify where we might be able to help. Obviously, employee productivity is one of those, and that would lead to a conversation with Illumo and some other productivity sort of players. So if you're interested in taking a quick assessment, looking at any different areas, we'd be happy to forward those over to you. Key takeaways from today, obviously, the first two boxes were the boxes we covered from our previous productivity webinars, etc. But I think what we've learned today from Robert and the Illumo team is listen and engage to your employees to develop the right environment and culture. That environment and culture will drive engagement. That engagement will drive productivity, and that productivity will drive the business results that you really want to see for your business. So again, if you want to reach out, you can absolutely. I'll be sending out this deck, etc. You can scribble down any of our contact details here, the USA Voice and Data team, and we can set up follow-up calls with Robert and Corey and the gang. With that, I think we're just going to wrap up. If anyone has any questions, we'd be happy to answer them. Corey, have you any more things that maybe Robert skipped over that you wanted to share as well?
No, not really. Really, the thing that I liked one of your slides before that said if you can't read the scoreboard, then you don't know the score. Which I love that. Wrote that down. It's definitely what we're trying to do, and is help people understand their people so that they can make better decisions. And that's especially when people are located all over the world, all over the country, and it's so hard to get the pulse of your organization. So I love that little phrase you had there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, we're very focused on helping businesses achieve more with less. So again, we thank you for you and Robert's time today. And
I got a question, Corey. Can you just tell like a little bit out on the packaging side? Is it a minimum of 100 licenses, or how do you guys, are they buying a software package, or is it done per employee? What is the kind of the nature of the engagement with Illumo?
That's a great question. So we try to package it any way that makes sense for our customers. We feel that around 100 people is a good start for organizational size. Now, we do have some smaller companies, like that Big Leap company that we actually have a case study for is under 100. They just do a really good job of getting that out. So our ideal customer is around 100 plus, but we can go lower than that. And it's not an app, so it's a website, so it's easily add on of people and take off of people. It can be added on to any HRIS suite that they have. So it's not a tear down and build back up kind of an idea. We're just like an add-on to what they already have. So we're very flexible, and the time to implement us is days. It's not a 6-month uploading process. It is extremely fast. We just needed a CSV file, and sometimes we can actually get that depending on the system that they have. It can be automatic, but the more that we build in different other platforms we can get that we can speak to, then it's just a quicker option. So
and I guess the fact that you've got packaged engagement programs already that they can leverage straight out of the gate, and only and then just tweak the existing sort of template, so to speak. That must really help in terms of speed to actually, for a company to actually see some feedback and get some positive results.
Yeah, definitely. So if you don't want to take action on COVID, then we just don't launch that. You saw, and it's just a one-click launch once you feel that you're capable and ready to learn about what those certain areas, those certain campaigns are. So it's not an all or nothing. If you in 3 months want to start doing custom questions, then we can add custom questions in at any time, or custom campaigns, completely new campaigns as well.
So I guess the second part, what are the pricing components, and what does that generally look like for an organization?
Sure. We try to be very flexible. If you want to go month to month, then we can do month to month. If you want to do annual, we can do annual. So depending on the price is dependent on how many people you have. The more you have, the bigger the organization, the lower the price that we can do for that. But we like to say it's like about a cup of Starbucks coffee per employee per month. So that's about an average amount of what it would be per person per month. And the bigger the organization, the lower the costs go. If it's
So it's a user per user subscription thing, and then is there an onboarding kind of implementation kind of option, or what?
That was something I forgot to touch on. We do not have a startup fee, so we launch it without charge. It's part of the actual per person per month. So the onboarding is quick, and it does not cost anything to do that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And is there a minimum term, like a 6-month term minimum or something?
Yeah, good question. We do a by month. You want to try it for 1 month, we offer it for 1 month. If you want to annual it, if you want to semi-annual it, if you want to do it 2-3 years time frame, whatever you want to do, the more you commit, the longer you commit to, the better we can do for you. Obviously, we try to get people discounts for doing that.
Realistically, how long does it take to actually see the benefits? I mean, the idea of doing it for a month seems kind of like you wouldn't get the opportunity to measure the differences. All right. So realistically, what would be the minimum recommendation you would have for engaging Illumo?
Well, right off the bat, you will get data, and the data is very quick. You'll start again. Everybody will get one. So if you start thinking about it, if everybody's getting a question once a week, so in a month you have 4 questions per person times by how many employees you have. So the data does add up very quickly. Now, benefits from it is just going to be dependent on when you take action, but you'll have the ability to take action on what you want to focus on by the campaigns that you have. So the faster you engage, the faster you start to implement what they're talking to you about and engaging with the employees, the higher participation rate you're going to have, and the higher your scores are going to go. So it does take a little bit of time, but the more dedicated you are to it, and the more time you put into it, and you listen to your people for real, then you're going to start seeing results fairly quickly. Within a few months, you're going to start seeing your scores gradually go up and up and up. And Big Leap has only been with us for a little over a year, and they're already where they are now. So it's not a long time frame. It's not 5 years. It's not a long-term project. It's fairly quick.
Yeah. And so so they were at a 50 and have ended up at an 80 or something like that. I can't remember. Something like that.
Yes, okay. and they're by far our highest. Did the best job. And again, they're just a little under 100 as well. So they're like in the 80s to low 90s range of employees as well. So they're out in Utah area.
Okay.
Yeah.
And no specific vertical strength in regards to this? Like, I know Derek mentioned healthcare, or I don't know what else is, is your client base pretty broad for the most part? It's across the board.
Yes. So basically, Robert said, if you want to understand your people, any of those businesses we can help you with. We have manufacturing, we have hospitality, we have healthcare, we have an assisted living company that has multiple locations in multiple states. So, the healthcare, as we do with that, we get production and manufacturing, all these different things. So we have not found this works the best in just a specific sector at this point. It's just very, very random. We have a lot of different areas, and not one seems to do better than the other.
Okay. All right.
Those are good questions, though.
Great questions. Thank you, Ross.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, listen, it's just a couple of minutes before 1, so we're finishing on time. And again, I'd like to thank everybody who's tuned in and participated. This video has been recorded, and it will be sent out. You'll receive an email with a link to our video page and so on and so forth. Encourage you to go check it out. There's some other excellent webinars on other different solutions there that you might be interested in as well. And again, thanks for your time. It's been great.
Yeah, awesome.
Thanks everybody. Have a great week.
Be safe.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.